Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Danil Abedin and we are presenting on distributed resource allocation for device-to-device 5G cellular networks. D2D communication. D2D was introduced in the fourth generation after LTE release in 2012. Device-to-device communication in cellular network is defined as direct communicating between two mobile users without traversing the base station or core network. In a traditional cellular networks, all communication must go through the base station if communicating parties are in range for proximity-based D2D communication. Communication through base station provide low data rate mobile service such as voice calls and messages in which users are close enough for direct communication. However, mobile users in today's cellular networks use high data rate service and video sharing in which they can potentially be in range for direct communication. Researchers have classified two types of D2D on the basis of usage and network resistance, in-band and out-band. Motivation for choosing in-band communication is that high control over cellular license spectrum. In in-band is further divided into underlay and overlay. In underlay, cellular and D2D devices can share the same radio resources and enhance the performance of cellular network by providing high spectral efficiency. In overlay, D2D links are given dedicated resources. Now comes to outband. In outband, unlicensed spectrum is exploited by the user. Therefore, outband communication is used to mitigate the interference between D2D and cellular links. Outband also further divided into control and autonomous. In a control, base station is responsible for all computer and management tasks, but in autonomous, individual user equipment are responsible for allocating the spectrum for D2D communication. Network assisted but not visible as spectrum is unlicensed. No control of base station thus become challenging task. Why do we want to do this project? In dense environment, base station is involved. That is controlling control traffic. We believe that D2D will enable to provide assistance to these nodes that would like to communicate with each other. Since base station is bombarded with control related information, so it cannot assist. In particular use cases, we can want to ensure that mobile devices communicate with each other. What happens when base station in disaster condition is down? Mobile devices are not dead. We have transmitter and receiver, but cannot communicate because base station is down, but we want that mobile devices communicate. So for this, we have to assign them time, frequency, resources, and resource allocation is our main problem. There are two methods for resource allocation. If base station is alive, then base station will do resource allocation. What if base station is dead or busy because of congested traffic? Then nodes will allocate resources by themselves in optical manner, and this is the area in which we are working on. As far as engineering element, yes, in network design and modeling is included in our project that addresses engineering aspect design. We are not building up some prototype that is implemented, but all engineering aspect designs are covered. Critical thinking analysis at this research-based project. Now the question is what exactly our project will produce. Through simulation results, we will show our algorithm performance. Now what are the performance matrices? Interference management, outage probability. And in the end, we will showcase that in our resource allocation scheme, these performance matrices will tell us how this is better than centralized one. We will try to write heuristic algorithm that has no mathematical proof, which has better performance matrices. And then we will compare our simulation results that how our algorithm is better. One of the biggest milestone is to write a conference paper. In the end, we will try to show our research on network simulator. We can demonstrate 2 to 3 nodes that will assign resource by themselves in network simulator. Now over to Isma.
My name is Isma Ayub and I'm going to explain distance-based algorithm. And before going into that, let us see the basic theme behind this flow chart. That is, we are providing distance-based protection to receivers, and we ensure that if another transmitter enters into the existing transmission radius, then we cannot assign it frequency that is being used in this transmission radius by other transmitters. This is our first algorithm of distributed resource allocation, and the biggest assumption in this algorithm is that every receiver node knows location of all the nodes that are in the receiver transmission range. Now the question arises, through which method node locations are known to receiver node? So the answer is through GPS. The location of all the nodes can be known within the transmission radius, or every node has sensing range, and we assume sensing range is equivalent to transmission range, and in that sensing range, any node that is transmitting on any particular frequency, that information is received by receiver node. Given this assumption, we are able to distribute resources like this. Now sharing the detailed flow chart here. Let us get familiar with all notations that are used in this algorithm. A subscript T k power j be the 2D circular region corresponding to the transmission range of kth transmitter using jth frequency. R subscript k power j be the kth receiver using jth frequency resources. T subscript k power j be the kth transmitter using jth frequency resources. And the frequency frequency pool, that is F1, F2 up to so on. Total node pair be n D2D pairs. A subscript R k power j be the 2D circular region corresponding to the transmission range of kth receiver using jth frequency. RU be the set of the frequency that can be reused. Now the basic idea is when D2D pair enters into the system, then it passes through the decision block that checks if the contending transmitter is outside the transmission range of all the existing receiver nodes, or if contending receiver is outside the transmission range of all the existing transmitter nodes. Now here the checked for all j will check each pair with all the frequencies present in the frequency pool. Let us begin with the first iteration. According to the first decision block, check D2D pair with all frequencies. As we know, it is the first pair and there are no existing pairs yet. So it will be moved to the second decision block where it will ensure that all frequencies are checked for iteration I, and we will assign any random frequency from pool, as we know that it is our first iteration and we have not utilized any frequency from pool. So it cannot be empty pool. Likewise, after assigning frequency, it will move towards the next iteration. Now another pair enters into the system, and this time again the loop will check this pair with all frequencies, and if any frequency lies in the range of existing nodes, thus creating interference between the nodes, will be removed from the pool. Then ensure that all the frequencies are checked for this iteration. After that, it will check availability of frequencies in the pool if available. Then it will assign any frequency. If not, then this node cannot transmit. Basically, we are ensuring protection on receiver from contending nodes and providing existing receivers protection from incoming transmitter. And this is done through first decision block. Now, next slide. This is the pictorial view of assigning frequency resources while keeping in mind distance-based algorithm. In the first section, we have assigned F1 frequency to the D2D pair. In the second section, second D2D pair enters into the system and thus arises two scenarios that are, in first scenario, we check if it is in the range of the first D2D pair, then we cannot reuse frequency and will assign it any random frequency F2 as shown in the figure 1. In the second scenario, we check that the D2D pair is in the range of the first D2D pair. If not, then we can reuse frequency F1 as shown in the figure 2. In the third section, third D2D pairs enters into the system and thus arises three scenarios that are, in the first scenario, we check the incoming pair is in the range of the second and third pair. If yes, then assign every pair different frequency like F1, F2, F3 as shown in the figure 1. In the second scenario, the incoming D2D pair lies in the range of existing node pairs and thus ultimately cannot reuse frequency of existing pairs. But second D2D pair is not in the range of first D2D pair, so it is reusing frequency of first D2D pair as shown in the figure 2. In the third scenario, we check all pairs are outside each other transmission range, and then we can reuse frequency like F1 as shown in the figure 3. That's how we assign frequencies between different D2D pairs by assessing their transmission range. Our next step is pseudocode that is under process, and then we'll program it on MATLAB. It is rightly quoted that algorithm is like a recipe. By following sequence of steps and procedures, we can get our desired results. Thank you. Now Abdullah will continue further.
Thank you, Isma. As much as our project's proposed timeline is self-explanatory through this Gantt chart, I would still like to explicate the central fundamental of a project's timeline. Now, as this project is quite evidently a research-based project, consequently, it demands literature work and its algorithm composition to progress in parallel. Based on this intent, we have collectively been reading and analyzing published and technologically sound research papers in parallel to devising our own algorithms. Now, after numerous trials of simulations for our project, which will include benchmarking our statistical results with published statistics of other similar projects of the same domain, we will be constituting a well-found research paper by the end of the project's timeline. Now, moreover, our collective work in preparing a concise project report for the worthy panel will start in parallel with the process of composition of the research paper. Up till now, we have drafted multiple reports of our progress with mutual effort and have been getting them assessed by our respectable supervisor. Next slide, please. Till this point, all three of us have been putting in teamwork to advance towards our common goal. Reasoning this as our best plan of action, we have accomplished all of our goals up till now collectively instead of allotting different tasks among us individually. It would be befitting to endorse the set plan of action by stating some of our strategies in this regard. We had shortlisted about 7 research papers of the same or similar domain and read them collectively as a group multiple times. And in the same manner, we collectively composed literature reviews or summaries as per our understanding. In contrast of algorithm writing and its coding, we had proposed an innovative code on MATLAB using Poisson point distribution for placing nodes in a scaled region or space. This too we had done collectively and also intend on writing algos and codes in the same approach. One of our many tasks was to calculate the SINR of the receiver nodes. In terms of time allocation for the project per week, all three of us have been investing at least 10 hours a week, both collectively and individually combined. Most imperiously, we have been meeting regarding the project every week, at least once or twice, summing up our total hours to a week, or at least 17. Thank you very much.